Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thidoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
All right, Morning Juice. Thanks for tuning in. We are sponsored by Riverside Bank in Dublin. Got a big show lined up for you today. I'm Tito, Bobby Carpenter, the general. To my left, across the fake glass, is Mark the Shark on his last Thursday. Not of his life. But as far as I'm concerned, he's dead to me after next week.
You never know. It could be.
Now, I tried to talk to you about. No, you're not doing that. We are 35 days until the Pro Football Hall of Fame game, Bobby. 58 days until the first 4 college football games. 65 until Ohio State, Texas. 70 until the start of the NFL. I know you're as excited as I am on that one. Albert Breer will join us today. Looking forward to that. We got a lot to talk about. The Reds fell to the Yankees 7-1. They're off today. They host the Padres Thursday. Bobby, a Cincinnati Red was placed on the 10-day injured list yesterday with a disease I've not heard of in quite some time.
Chlamydia?
Not chlamydia. Not chlamydia. That's a good guess, though.
Polio.
It really wasn't.
Not polio.
Polio.
Not polio. Would you have to go on the IL for chlamydia?
I would think, yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen it up close.
I think listen, Jimmy Dugan said you could play right through that.
Okay.
Well, that's true. They were different back then, though.
Connor Joe was placed on the 10-day IL for hand, foot, and mouth disease.
You've never heard of that?
No, I've heard of it. For a long time, I'm saying. It's been a long time.
Usually kids get that.
Right.
I don't know if you remember, was it last year at Ohio State or 2 years ago? I don't know if it was last season or 2 seasons ago. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
They had like an epidemic of that ran through the offensive line room.
Oh, was that what that was then? I remember something going through, but it was hand, foot, and mouth.
I think that's what it was.
Wow.
And they returned to like meeting outside on the indoor where they were all like spaced out.
I think it was just last year.
I think it was last year.
Last summer.
I think because those guys were that's why the offensive line was struggling early, and we were talking, they're disjointed and this and that. And I remember walking out there during camp, and they had the whiteboard set up, a projector on like a little tray, a substitute teacher coming in, and then there was like 12 chairs just 5-6 feet apart out in the middle of the indoor. I joked, I'm like, what, is COVID back? And they're like, no. I mean, these guys are all getting hand, foot, and mouth. I'm like my kids? I mean, is that a thing?
I thought that was gone. I thought we were done with that.
We abolished it? Just like polio?
I thought Salk did something to fix that one.
How about measles?
Who was the measles? Who did the vaccination for measles? Who came up with that one? Do you guys know off the top of your head? Was Salk polio?
Salk or Saban, Jonas Salk. Hand, foot, and mouth disease is a common viral infection, especially in young children, characterized by fever, mouth sores, and a rash with blisters on the hands and feet. It is typically mild and self-limiting, with symptoms usually resolving within 7 to 10 days. So, hence the 10-day.
Yeah, 7 to 10 days. But if you're in training camp and you're only there for about 12 days, the 7 to 10 becomes the majority.
It's true. Yep. So, Connor Joe for the Reds got placed on that there. Your guards won last night there, Sharky. What, 5, 4, and 10?
What are you, surprised?
Yeah, lately I guess I am. Kind of am.
I mean, the Reds lost and the Guards won. That's kind of been a reversal of fortunes.
Yeah. Reds are off today, host the Padres Thursday, and the Guardians and Blue Jays wrap up their series today at 1:10. Bob, did you have a nice evening last night?
Yeah, it was crazy. Those pockets of rain. Did it rain at your house?
Yes, it did.
A lot or a little?
I honestly don't know. I was down in the dungeon most of the time in the basement.
The rain at your place, Shark.
It did. And I don't know what time because I was sleeping, but when I woke up, I went out to get the mail, and the puddles were out there.
So about probably about 3 o'clock, I was driving up to Dublin. I could see up 3:15 the rain coming down. I mean, it was sheets of rain for about, 25, 30 minutes. I bet you got 1.5 inches, though. But
What?
Oh, it was raining really hard. And then it wasn't raining like south of 270, though. And that's why it rained a little bit, I think, in Arlington. I don't know how much of that came through. They said a bunch of rain south, but there was these pockets that would pop up, and they said they weren't moving. Like they would just sit there and dump on you. You're used to that, Shark.
I went out to water the flowers and plants, and I didn't need to because the beds were wet.
Yeah. Kind of like yours.
You are just
one
after another.
You know what's amazing is I had a little bit of a rough wake up this morning. I think because I got pulled straight out of a dream, so it took me a little bit to get going. And I drove my Jeep down in here today because it wasn't supposed to rain, and get a little humid air on your face, kind of like a sauna, a steam room on the move. And then, as I sat in here and saw your smiling face, Sharky, I was up and Adam and ready to go and get the bag of zingers ready. But I did have a good night last night.
It sounds like you had a good night's sleep. You seem very spry this morning.
I sat there. Court and I, well, she had to go pick up McLean's lacrosse team, but we watched a couple episodes of The Chosen that came out, and then we watched the Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell movie where they like pretend to date. And it's pretty good. And it was crazy as my daughter walks in, she's like, oh, after seeing one scene of it, she's like, this is such and such. I'm like, I've assumed that you've seen it. She's like, yeah, we saw it in theaters. I'm like, I didn't even realize I went to theaters. I thought it was just straight up on Netflix. But I like Glenn Powell. And Glenn's like, how do you know he is? I was like, well, he was in Top Gun, Maverick. Like, that came out 6 years ago.
Classic.
So we were guessing how old their ages were.
That was a good movie.
It's a great movie.
You saw it?
Top Gun, man? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just the classics.
Just the classics. I did see that one. Hoping for a sweaty volleyball scene again. Didn't get all of what I wanted out of that movie, but that's okay.
But you did get a sweaty like beach football.
Yes, the beach football. Scene. Yeah, they really stretched it on that one by changing a lot of the plot line there. All right, Bob, make us smarter.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
Oh, Bobby, educate me.
Well, it is Thursday, June. Don't want to jump ahead, Shark.
Not yet.
June 26th. I wrote down 8/26, so I was impressed I was able to put back.
That's actually August.
Yeah, I know it is. That's what my birthday is, so I got that one locked down here. 177th day of the year, 188 days remaining in this 2025. Officially on July 2nd, the day after Shark leaves here. What happened to the music?
Music stopped. Did you
Don't
pot
look
it
at
down?
me.
I've still got it potted up.
You want me to start it over?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll start it over. I didn't do anything over here. It's nothing's playing.
Here it is.
Oh, yeah, I got you doing there.
I don't want the intro.
That right there, that is a savvy, cagey veteran move right there by you. Because I would have just played it from the start with everything again.
I was going to say on July 2nd, the day after Shark's first day of retirement.
Yes.
We will officially be closer to 2050 than 2000.
I hate those stats.
Gosh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, on July 12th, I'll be closer to 70 than 60.
That kind of stuff depresses me when I get that way. When I start thinking about that number.
It's very exciting.
My wife loves when I tell her she's closer to 55 than she is to 40 and things like that.
She tells her she's closer to death than birth.
That you know what?
Well,
I should
we
probably
know
say
that. All of us are.
I don't know.
Well, maybe not
I'm
you,
41.
Bob. Yeah, maybe not you.
I might live to 100. There's a good chance
you
of
might.
that.
I'll take the under.
If that CTE
Yeah, the CTE thing's
I'm
that's
not
going to do you.
joking about that.
I'll just lay there
You
as
can
a
joke
vegetable.
about that. He jokes about it. You can joke about it.
I'm not going to get mad about that. I can't take the jokes. I can't make the jokes and get upset when someone makes them back at me. This date, 1870, the U.S. declares Christmas a federal holiday. Get one of those days off work.
Took that long, huh? 1870?
1870,
Should
yeah.
be a Friday.
Well, that's what they were debating whether to always make it on a Friday. This date, 1906, the first Grand Prix happens in Le Mans. 1948, the first flights are made as part of the Berlin airlift. How about that? Ich bin ein Berliner. Coming up here, 1959, the Swedish boxer Ingemar Johansson beats Floyd Patterson in a technical knockout 2 minutes into the third round in Yankee Stadium. They need to do more boxing outside.
Yes.
The outdoor, by the way, I mean, that ring is super small. Like, could you imagine trying to watch that back then? They didn't have jumbotrons. You'd have to bring binoculars.
Yeah.
To be able to see it. And then on this date, 1963, 62 years ago today, John F. Kennedy, Ich bin ein Berliner, shortly after the construction of the Berlin Wall.
All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, Ich bin ein Berliner.
It's a great win the crowd, man.
He was good at that.
I don't think it's ish. I think it's ich in German.
You do?
He said ish.
So I'm
going to diss JFK.
Yeah, of course you should.
Too soon.
He Americanized it.
It's okay. I'm okay with him Americanizing things.
He was Irish, not German.
Dick Ben Irish.
Dick Ben Irishman. That's amazing. This day, 1974, the first UPC code was scanned. Do you know where it was scanned, Thidoff?
I think on the bottom of the box.
Well, that is...
I'm going to guess. I think it's in Ohio.
You're onto something.
I am. It's in the...
Columbus, Ohio.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
North of Dayton.
Troy, Ohio.
There you go, Shark.
Wow,
Troy,
look at
Ohio.
this.
Do you know what UPC stands for?
United Postal Service.
I have no idea. Code.
Universal Product Code. First scanned at Marsh's Supermarket in Troy, Ohio, off of the back of a pack of gum. Wrigley's, I believe it was. Why Dayton? I mean, that seems kind of crazy. As to this, railroads expanded with it. Kinsey Company formatted the Universal Product Code. Ever be scanned on Wrigley's chewing gum. Purchased at a Walmart supermarket at 8:01 a.m. So basically, someone stopped when they were done listening to Morning Juice back then.
Yeah,
they walked over and they scanned it. The NCR cash register played at their golf course. Big NCR was huge out there. Rang it up 67 cents. The shopping cart also contained other barcoded items, but the gum was the first one picked to check out. A facsimile.
That's a fax.
That's a fax, just like electronic mail. Of the gum packet went on display at the Smithsonian Institute in the museum. I'm just curious. It doesn't say why Troy, but maybe I'm guessing because NCR was over there in Dayton, and maybe that's where the registers were, and they're the best ones. I don't know.
I don't know if Marsh's is still there or not.
I doubt it is. This day, 1977, Elvis Presley's final concert takes place in Indianapolis.
This is a song that I just recorded called Unchained Melody. I had to play the piano, so it'll take
This
you
is so
second.
good.
Yeah.
Now, shall I? Show me the right keys. Got it? I just recorded it, and I don't know. Is it out?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks to be out? Unchained Melody. From an album called Unchained Melody. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch.
It was amazing. I was watching that video as I was, producing that, and it's about a minute and a half long.
It's so good.
He just mumbles and stumbles, and then he goes into the song, and he sounds like Elvis.
That's my point. Is like you listen to him playing that piano. I mean, but first of all, how old was Elvis when he died?
42.
That'll be
And
me.
he died August 16th, so less than 2 months after that concert.
Yeah. So I'll be 42 in a month and a half. Do I look better than Elvis at 42?
You do, Bob. He did not look good.
I thought he was like 55 when he died. When he found out he was 42, that was a little soul-crushing to me. He aged from 20 to 40 about 60 years.
His death was one of those moments. I remember reading the newspaper about it. I remember seeing like how all the news coverage on it. And then when I was 10, I went to Graceland. When Ohio State played Navy in the Liberty Bowl, we went there.
Me too. I
Did you
didn't
really
see
go
you
there?
there, but I did go to Graceland
I was a lot younger
for that
back then.
Liberty Bowl game.
Yeah.
So was Elvis.
Lousy game.
31-28. I remember going to but didn't go inside Graceland. We weren't letting people inside at the time, but kind of toured the grounds and stuff. But
Now he's having tea with the Queen.
he is. That's exactly right.
That rendition of Unchained Melody might be my favorite.
That's pretty good.
I remember when I stumbled into it. I forget where or how. It may have been this date last year when we talked about it, and watching that and just being blown away, like you said, Shark, because he looked like an incoherent drunk at that point. And
I
then
think it's better than the Righteous Brothers.
it really
so
is.
do I. I do
Well,
too.
him playing the piano, like not even the singing, for a guy that looked like he borderline had Parkinson's, as he was up there, then he hops on the piano and just starts banging. I'm like, my goodness, man. Like that's how talented some of those people are. And he is one of them. A little update here. Marsh's Supermarkets was a Indianapolis-based supermarket. Peak number 86 stores throughout in central Indiana and western Ohio. 2017, they filed for bankruptcy, eventually liquidated. Kroger purchased 11 of the 44 remaining, while the Ohio-based Fresh Encounter purchased the other 15. The 18 unsold stores were closed that July. So it was open until a little less than a decade ago. This date, 1997, J.K. Rowling publishes her first book in the Harry Potter series.
It's very lonely sitting at home all day on your own with a computer.
So tell me, what was it like when you saw your first book in the shop?
That was the best moment of all. Better than anything that has come since was me seeing it, and it was a real book in a proper real bookshop, and it was wonderful. There will be 7, and I've just finished number 2. That will be published next summer. The way I arrived at writing a book was that I've been writing for years and years and years, since I was very young, outside school and so on. And I think you need to practice. You need to practice and work out what worked and what didn't work, and keep going, and probably start by writing about things you know about.
Write about things you know about, like Hogwarts Academy and Magic.
Yeah. Did you guys watch any of those or not?
I've seen bits and pieces of all of them. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. My family likes them. They've watched them all.
I saw the first one in the theater, and I was bored out of my mind. Never saw another one.
Said, forget this. Bump it. I'm going to watch Star Wars.
Just be careful you order the right one if you ever decide to watch it like on TV.
What do you mean
like
order the right one?
I'm just saying.
Why?
I'll explain it to you off the air.
Oh, maybe there might be some.
For
Harry Potter,
there might be some.
I'm just
spoofs on it that might be more of the adult variety.
Oh, just make sure that they have Harry spelled right.
Like I watched a Pinocchio movie one time, and its subline was, "It's not his nose that grows."
There you go. There you go.
Wrong Pinocchio.
Or was it?
Speaking of handsome dudes, two of the most beautiful men you'll find. The Nelson brothers released their debut album on this date, 1990. Actually, I skipped that. With their biggest hit by far, "Love and Affection."
Speaking of Harry.
They were so cute.
Some knee-high boots on and these tights, and they had that pressed hair shark. Did you see it in the video?
Blonde, bleached blonde.
Oh, it was great. They were Ricky Nelson's.
Yeah, Ricky Nelson's sons.
Ricky Nelson's sons.
We talked about the Andrew Ridgeley and George Michael Wham yesterday. Mm-hmm. I know Gunnar Nelson, but I never remember the other guy's name. Do you remember the other guy's name?
Get as good a name.
That's what I'm saying. Like his brother is probably forever Andrew Ridgeley.
I don't know if he had as much success as Andrew Ridgeley
Maybe not.
did. That's the only song of theirs I know, but I do love it. The video is tremendous.
He's probably scanning UPC codes now.
And then this date, 1999. Remember this bad boy? It was like right on the cusp of me getting my license. Driving around in the car, Shark, listening to you on the radio, spinning the turntables, playing The Last Kiss by Pearl Jam that hit number 2, 1999.
I wish we could play more than 10 seconds of that.
Bobby will sing it for
What a great one.
I love Eddie Vedder's voice. I know
So do
he's
I.
a little wacky sometimes, a little bit out
I think
there.
he used to be. I don't think he is anymore. I think he's more
matured.
I think he's older.
Yeah, matured, I believe is the word you're looking for.
Matured.
Some birthdays today. Chris Isaac turning 69. Is that in Pulp Fiction? The Big Lebowski? It's been in a lot of movies.
That's Heather's ringtone.
Wicked Game. It's Wicked Game.
I don't want to fall in love with you.
Oh, that's good. It's really good. That's what awesome song. Wicked Games. Shannon Sharp turning 57 today. Curious what Sharp pulled up from him.
No sense.
I'm going to share with you what my therapist shared with me. She said, Shannon, your biggest mistake is is that you see yourself in other people. You think people is going to treat you like you would treat them or like you would want to be treated. She said that is your mistake.
One of his mistakes. That's one of the mistakes.
That is your mistake. The other one?
Not
leaving your phone, calling, I don't even know, or your Instagram Live running.
Yeah.
While you're...
Technology can get us sometimes.
Well, I mean, maybe everybody needs a good sex tape. Maybe that was his version of getting that out there. I didn't think Kim Kardashian got to be so famous.
Well, it's still called sex tapes, but there aren't really sex tapes anymore, are they?
Well, I know. That's like...
sex videos.
Yeah, it's like roll down the window.
Roll down the window.
Hang up the phone. Hitting the shelves. Sean Hayes of Will and Grace fame turning 55 today. Chris O'Donnell also turning 55. What do we have this little nugget from?
This is an interview he did with Conan, and it was talking about Scent of a Woman.
We got new pages given to us one day when we were filming at the Plaza Hotel, which I guess Trump owned at the time, and it said we were doing a scene with Donald Trump, and it explained to us that in order for us to film at the Plaza, we had a little walk-on part for Donald and Marla. What was amazing was he went through the whole, he came through hair and makeup, and he ate on the set, but he looked the same going into hair and makeup as he did when he left.
So wait, what part did they give him? I don't remember this.
It got cut out of the movie.
Trump said they could film at the Plaza, but only if he was in the movie.
The fact that they cut it out, I'm surprised that he didn't make it, so he had to be in there.
I bet he's going to change it to where now it's going to have to put back in by law.
Considering that was 30 years ago, put back in. Turning 51 today, number 2 for the Yankees, number 1 in your heart, Mr. Derek Jeter.
1-2. He loops that to left field. Going to be a tough play. Jeter on the run, makes the play, and flies into the stands. Oh, what a play by Derek Jeter. Wow, Jeter really banged himself up.
Wow. I think he caught you could see the redness in his face. He caught the bar of that box. What a play.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it's just full tilt. There's no way you could stop.
He had to hit one of the chairs.
Yeah, on his way down.
One of the chairs handles or something like that. That's just all out, pure hustle, pure guts. I got to make the play. Nothing else matters.
What play would he be making on the sideline as a shortstop?
Foul ball.
Foul ball's going to stand.
I get that, but why wouldn't the third baseman be on that?
I think he started with a better angle. I think Charlie Hayes or Wade Boggs, the third baseman.
Probably Hayes.
And Hayes was not as fleet of foot as Jeter was.
Say that's a lot of ground to cover from second
shortstop.
Shortstop there. Chad Pennington turning 49 today.
Did you know the Jets made 4 first-round picks in the 2000 draft?
Areas of need: defensive end, wide receiver now obviously, tackle, tight end, and do they pull the trigger somewhere in here for the quarterback?
It's the only time a team has ever picked 4 times in round 1.
With the 12th choice in the NFL Draft 2000, the New York Jets select Sean Ellis, defensive end, Tennessee. John Abraham, linebacker, South Carolina.
Quarterback Chad Pennington from Oxford University.
Anthony Becht, tight end, West Virginia.
New York got a combined 30 years of service between all 4 players.
Say that was a pretty good draft for having 4 first-rounders and those guys all playing as much there as they did. A couple of them be pretty good players. Turning 45 today, the 4-time Pro Bowler and a winner of the Archie Griffin Award, Michael Vick.
In trouble, and Vick gets away from one. He's still on his feet. Now he cuts it to the right side. He's cut it to the middle. He's got the first down, and he is down at the 28-yard line. How did he do that? Houdini was born not far away from here in Green Bay.
There's play from about the 12, and there is Vick rolling and launching downfield for Deshaun Jackson, who accelerates, caught the opening play, and all the way for a touchdown. 88 yards.
Vick on 2nd and 8, off the play fake, has some running room, inside the 30, inside the 20, Vick into the end zone, Falcons win in overtime, a 46-yard touchdown run.
I still contend he's the most exciting player in NFL history.
More than Barry Sanders?
Barry would be a close second. I would pay to watch Mike Vick run, and he was unbelievable at Virginia Tech. I mean, he put him on the map.
Oh, he put him in the national championship game against Florida State.
As a freshman.
As a freshman.
Was a freshman that year?
Redshirt freshman, Got a sack and a half against Michael Vick.
You did?
Yeah, we played him my rookie year in Atlanta on, I think, Christmas Day. It was like a Saturday. It was right around. We played on a Saturday, so it was the day before Christmas or the day after. Maybe it was 26 or something. Yeah, but I had a sack and a half on him.
Did you tell him about it?
No, I didn't tell
I
him
changed
about
my mind. Bobby Carpenter, the most exciting player.
And then we played him again when he was back in Philly after everything was starting in that playoff run in 2009. Well, we won a game. First one they'd won in a long time. And I recovered 2 fumbles. One of them was, I think they were both from him. Yeah, one was in the pocket, one got batted forward.
I always thought he would be really successful in Cleveland playing in front of the dog pound.
Oh, jeez, you're terrible.
Rothman's calling in. Hang on, let me take this call real quick.
Some other birthdays. Cavs legend J.J. Barea turning 41. Surprised you didn't find anything from him.
Couldn't find anything.
Rudy Gobert. Patient, they called Gilbert Arenas Agent Zero. Sometimes they called Rudy Gobert Patient Zero from his COVID microphone licking back in 2020.
I tried to get that, but there was really no audio.
You couldn't hear him.
The reporters are watching him, and he gets up. His media session was over, and he starts licking his fingers and touching everything. But there was no audio, so I got you this instead.
It was when you tested positive that sports shut down. Not that you did anything, but you were the guy that everyone remembers as being that catalyst for, whoa, wait, we have to stop. Everything has to stop. What do you think about that?
My positive test was kind of the domino that made, Adam Silver and all the other sports league to kind of shut down. I mean, I think a lot of guys, probably had it before, but, I was the first to test positive, and I think that was the red light for the NBA to say that we got to stop this. We can prevent many lives from being affected from this, so let's stop it now and see what happens.
And Sharman and Cottonelle made a lot of money after that.
Oh, yeah. Some passings today. Liz Claiborne passing away on this day, 2007. Roy Campanella passing away on this date, 1993. Some holidays and observances. It is Forgiveness Day. How about that? National Bomb Pop Day. Shark, there was once a line I heard in a movie said, "Suck it like a bomb pop down to the blue."
Yep. Red, white, and blue.
National Chocolate Pudding Day.
Not a chocolate fan, Bob. Butterscotch, tapioca, vanilla.
National Handshake Day, which is the last Thursday in June. And Tropical Cocktails Day. And those are your historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date. Thursday, June 26th, the 177th day of the year, and 188 days remaining in this 2025.
Well done, General. We have a COVID Gobert Day on the same day as National Handshake Day, which we couldn't do there for a long time. Quite ironic, as I've heard in different songs. Coming up next, an NFL team may be on the move. We'll talk about that next. Morning Juice.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
We ask parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad. And I feel very proud to be a son.
That was what he needed. and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Bobby is known as the General. Tito shops at Dollar General. This is Morning Juice.
Do you need a bank that truly values your business in this town and the opportunity to work alongside them as partners? Whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate in our area and will help you reach your goals. Whether you need an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riversidebank.com or stop in and let them know at 6300 France Road, Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Bobby, the Ohio legislature has made
they get a budget passed?
They made it possible for the Browns to build their indoor stadium in Brook Park, about 15 miles southwest of the current stadium. And they are, the budget includes, this is from the Athletic article I read, a new sports and culture facility fund, which will take $1.7 billion from the state's $4.8 billion in unclaimed funds.
By the way,
yeah.
I feel like we could probably get that back to the people who it was unclaimed from.
Maybe. I would think that'd be, or they're...
The fact that there's that much money, and when they said they're going to fund this with the unclaimed funds, I'm like, is that some of my tax returns and just things that are lying around there?
It's insane. The Browns get $600 million. They're supposed to pay it back through tax revenues. The other $1.1 billion devoted for future facility projects and upgrades, it says, including a likely renovation of the Bengals' home stadium. Now, I understand why the Browns, why the Haslams want an indoor stadium. I understand why they want to do it. They want to have something huge year-round, concerts, other things. A Final Four, I bet, will happen at some point too. They want so it makes perfect sense.
They'll get a Super Bowl.
You're right, they will.
You'll get a Super Bowl.
It makes perfect sense.
The NFL basically said, if you build a new stadium, we're going to give you a Super Bowl.
But
they
I hate
gave
it.
New York one in an open-air stadium.
I hate it. I hate it as a fan. Not a fan of the Browns, a fan of football. But I'm saying, like, if Shark is a Browns fan, does that bother you?
Yes.
Because I don't know how much it changes. It's a biggest shift for me is when the Browns came back after Modell left, and it wasn't Municipal Stadium. A dump, no doubt about it. But that was the Browns
it was
stadium.
Our dump.
It was
our
you know
dump.
what? It was old and dirty, and it was all those things are true about it. But it was historically the Browns stadium. When they came back, this new one, it looked plastic to me. Whatever they're playing now, I don't know what it's called now. But it seemed very fake and phony to me. So as a Browns fan, I gotta believe,
that's not why I don't like it. I like teams to be downtown.
Okay.
It's a shorter drive for me to Brook Park than it is Cleveland, but I don't care. It was a shorter drive for me to go to Richfield to watch the Cavs than downtown, but I like teams being downtown. I'm in the minority because the polls they've done up in Cleveland, 2/3 of the people want this to happen.
I mean,
sure.
Isn't there,
And
there's not great parking. Like, there's just a lot of issues with where the stadium is located, and there's not a lot of amenities immediately around it, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is right there.
Right there, yeah.
I'm sure that'll hurt the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame some.
It's going to hurt downtown businesses. I know you say, well, they only play 9 games or, I guess, 10 with preseason. But a lot of restaurants and hotels rely on that.
What's that restaurant you go for the buffet, the brunch?
Cleveland Chop.
Yeah. Are you still going to drive up to go to the Cleveland Chop
and then drive back to Brook Park?
Yeah.
Maybe I will, Bob.
You'll have all the
Maybe
time in the world, Shark.
That's true.
That's true. You don't have to be anywhere.
I don't.
You don't have to be anywhere. But it'll be. I even think about the little things like all the people make money on parking. Now, granted, they price gouge you. They charge you $100 to park or whatever. But those are people that, I've got a buddy of mine who is part of he owns part of a facility, and he parks for Ohio State football games. And they make pretty good coin doing that, just going out there for a couple hours and collect money and point people where to park. And I thought about him, like, if there's somebody like him up there who sometimes counts on, making a pretty good chunk of change every Saturday at Ohio State, every Sunday in Cleveland. If you're charging that much, which is stupid, I hate how much they charge, but they're going to lose out on that as well. We can talk to our next guest about that a little bit as well. Make sure you stick around, folks. Here on Morning Juice, Albert Breer joins us next.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little fly, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step.
Bella, let's go.
Guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm an innovation ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook: read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Bobby knows what it's like to be a winner. Tito knows what it's like to be thrown out of an all-you-can-eat buffet.
You're here 4 hours.
This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby, Shark, efforting on Albert Breer. We'll get him in there. But, Bob, the thing with the Cleveland Stadium, I know back when I was a Browns fan, I remember it was a distinct home field advantage playing for. It felt like that for the Browns games. They felt like they had a distinct home field advantage, especially late in the season when the weather turned.
Why is that?
Because
why was it just in the old one and not in this one too?
I can't explain. I don't remember. Maybe it's because the Browns played more meaningful games back then. When I was, maybe that could be what it is.
Actually
had
played
playoff games.
Yes, more playoff games.
Right,
than a couple.
Is the dome versus like if you get a team in the dome or warm weather team in the dome? Like I know the extremes of Chargers when they played the Bengals way back when in the AFC Championship game. It was in '82. It was like minus whatever 70 degrees wind chill, whatever the hell it was. But is that overplayed, Bob? For in most cases, warm weather teams or dome teams going to a cold weather game?
I don't think so. I think if you look back, I think data would probably support that. Like, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence on it, but I think people, when you talk about, there's a reason why when the Dolphins went to play Kansas City a couple years ago, I mean, they looked like they were, look at Tennessee and Ohio State this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a real thing. Playing outside, if you're an outdoor team, playing a warm weather team, that matters. It matters a lot. You talk about the heat going down the other way, and I think that matters some, but I would say cold weather, especially cold with wind, late in the year, definitely impacts warm weather teams significantly.
Channel 10 put out a weather impact advisory for August 30th. The Ohio State-Texas game is going to be 101 degrees that day.
They know already?
Noon start.
Good for them.
That's pretty impressive. That's reminding me, Shark. You didn't give me the read for Beat the Heat. I'll do it. We'll go to the break. That would have been a good time to do it, though, wouldn't it have been?
Yes.
That would have been worked right into it perfectly. Bobby, I fear. Fear is the wrong word.
I hope that, let's quit being afraid in life.
I'm afraid that someday every NFL stadium will be a dome.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
It makes fiscal sense.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
You don't think that? I mean, Grant, you got the Lambeau and things like that. Yeah, Lambeau
okay,
Field.
so I'm telling you,
no,
Lambeau's
saying,
never going. They're never going to build a dome stadium in Green Bay. I don't think Pittsburgh will ever build a dome stadium.
I hope not.
As long as the Rooneys still own the team. Now, if someone else does, I think that might change.
The Haslam's buy them.
I don't think they'll own one. I don't know I don't think Miami will ever have a dome stadium. Nashville's building a dome currently. Cincinnati, we'll see. I mean, if the Browns have to pay for part of it, it'll never be a dome stadium. They'll take one for free, probably.
Yes, that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
Speaking of domes, check out the hair on that dome.
Oh, yeah.
Albert Breer joins us here, out in the elements. Angelic Albert Breer, thanks for joining us. Albert, was there not a big enough deal made about this collusion story with the NFL?
I mean, I think it's a really big deal to the owners. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going to the sort of lengths they were to cover it up and to make sure that it didn't see the light of day. It's not a great story for the NFL. I don't think it's a great story for the NFLPA either. I don't know if it's the most compelling story for fans unless you kind of explain exactly what it is, which it's the idea that hang on a second, my wife just drove by. This is crazy, guys. Like, my wife, so we got this complicated ferry situation. There you go. Turn in there.
You guys, you're on vacation.
I'm not on vacation yet.
Oh.
No, we have this so basically we are, I had to drop my car off for the ferry early because the ferry reservations are all jacked up. So our ferry is going across to Nantucket this morning, but we're not going over there till tomorrow. So we had to take 2 cars down here to drop off the car to send it over there. And so I came over at the crack of dawn. My wife came behind me. She just picked me up. Thank you, Emily.
Does she want to say hi?
So now I'm in the car, but it was a little complicated. It was a little complicated to explain where I was for her to pick me up. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing, and that's why I was waving because I saw the car driving by. So yeah, like on collusion, a more serious thing than what I'm dealing with. Yeah. So I mean, I think this really goes back to the Deshaun Watson contract, and if you guys remember, there was a lot of noise out there about other owners being upset with Jimmy Haslam and the Browns for giving Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract. And the reason why is because it sets a precedent. And I think what people don't understand is that and Bobby, I'm sure you know this, but there's no CBA, in professional sports that I know of that either mandates or prohibits fully guaranteed contracts. In other words, baseball and basketball and hockey, there are fully guaranteed contracts, but it doesn't say in the CBA that there have to be. And same thing in the NFL. There aren't very many. There are almost no fully guaranteed contracts. There's nothing prohibiting fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL CBA. So this has to. The only way to get there, in the way it's structured in these sports, is through individual negotiations. That's how it happened in baseball. It's how it happened in basketball, where it just became the standard, the industry norm. So the only way for that to happen in football right now is if individual contract negotiations land players fully guaranteed contracts. The more players that get them, the more it becomes the industry norm. And so, it's obviously very damaging to players in their pursuit of changing what is the industry norm now, to a point where fully guaranteed contracts are more common, if owners are working together to prevent them. And that is what constitutes collusion. And so, there's evidence in the in this lawsuit that owners at an owners meeting were shown a deck that basically it didn't prevent them from doing guaranteed contracts, but strongly discouraged them from doing fully guaranteed contracts, and noted the effect that it can have on everybody else. And there's a text message exchange between Michael Bidwell, the Cardinals owner, and Dean Spanos, the Chargers owner. And Kyler Murray, the Cardinals quarterback, was drafted in 2019. Justin Herbert was drafted in 2020. Murray was, obviously eligible for a contract a year before Herbert. Murray does his contract, doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money in it. And the Chargers owner, Dean Spanos, texted the Cardinals owner to congratulate him on not putting a lot of guaranteed money in there, and then says that'll help us next year with Justin. So, it's a tough one for the owners. It's a tough look for the owners, and it's the reason why they aren't looking for other people to dig further into this or even know about the ruling that the arbitrator came to here, because it looks like they're working together to make sure that guaranteed contracts do not become the industry standard in the NFL. Again, it's complicated, but I mean, the way you want to think about it is, it's say you're in an industry where there's only one company, and that company doesn't have competition for your service. That company doesn't have competition for you as an employee. It would make it a lot harder to drive your salary up, to drive your benefits up, all of that different stuff. And so if the NFL is operating as 32 different companies, then there is competition for services, and that can drive the market. If those 32 companies are operating as one, then obviously it's a different picture altogether.
Yeah, I just wonder, Albert, when I was hearing about this, how much do normal fans care, do you think?
I don't think, and that's the thing is, it's when Florio kind of, and I love Mike, Florio kind of teased this the night before, he and Pablo Torre had this story. And, I think it's almost like he promised the fans cotton candy and gave them their vegetables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this isn't the cotton candy of news, but it's really, really relevant, because it relates to players' ability to get fully guaranteed contracts, which is something we've talked about till we're blue in the face. And, I've seen other people say, well, I'm not reporting on it because, the average fan doesn't care. we can't always, as reporters, we can't always operate on that. Otherwise, like Taylor Swift would be leading the news networks every night. You know what I mean? Like that's what people care about. My wife's giving me a dirty look now. But like there's news that like if you turn on any news broadcast, there's news that isn't necessarily the thing that the general public cares the most about, but it's really important. And it's important when you're creating a record of whatever you're covering that you cover it. And I kind of put this in that category, where it's really important to the business of the NFL. And when you are digesting the news in March of all these different players getting contracts and the guaranteed numbers and why those are so important, this colors all of that, So it's a very important story. It's an important story to players. It's an important story to teams. It's an important story to everyone. It's not the easiest thing in the world to understand. And look, like I've come to grips with this, it's interesting to me because I cover the business. I'm interested in the business of it, but I've kind of come to all of us come to grips with the fact that like there's a lot of stuff that we cover that's important that fans care much about, and you have to have a balance with that stuff. Because most fans, when they're driving home from work at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, they're looking to sports stuff to escape. They don't want to. Team, and he doesn't need the business of whatever sports shoved down his this way.
Albert, anything new to report on Shamar Stewart, Trey Hendrickson, or T.J. Watt?
I don't think you're going to hear much for the next couple of the NFL shut down. This is sort of the summer break when those guys all get away. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens when they get back. Pretty you have where the mark on, and I don't go to where the Browns went on Myles Garrett, or where the Cowboys will go on Micah Parsons. Then you have almost like the second tier for older players, which TJ Watt's in that category now. What Daniil Hunter got in Houston this offseason, what Max Crosby got in Vegas, and so somewhere from the mid-30s to the low 40s is where this lands. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do with an older player, but in the end, this is obviously probably the last big bite of the financial apple TJ will get. So he's going to be motivated to get a deal done. He's gone through some injury issues, and the Steelers, because of where they are from a team standpoint, with Cam Hayward at the stage of his career he is, with Minka Fitzpatrick at the stage of his career he is, and then going and getting Aaron Rodgers and kind of making this that all-in sort of year. I'd have to think they're going to be hyper motivated for this not to be a storyline for them during camp. We've been over the Shamar Stewart, Trey Hendrickson thing, chapter and verse. The Trey thing, I think, remains highly unpredictable. This has been 3 off seasons that they've had to deal with this. And, they did the Band-Aid deal 2 years ago. Last year, they didn't, do anything to the contract. I think as such, he's not going to be motivated to take a hometown discount. And the market has really gone up at his position. So I think you got to get into the area where Crosby and Hunter are now, for obvious reasons, if you're the Bengals. And the structure becomes a big question, too, because you gave, sort of a precedent-breaking structure to Jamar Chase, but you didn't to T. Higgins. So that one's complicated. And then, Shamar Stewart, that one's all about precedent. So we'll see what happens there.
Where are we at, Albert, on the scheduling of the training camp little journey, if you will?
So I think I'm probably going to do the Midwest first, Bobby. I think. I've talked to my editors about Detroit maybe first. Buffalo makes more sense geographically because you can kind of start in Buffalo and then work your way down. But we'll see. I think I'll probably be in Ohio in late July. That'd be my guess.
Albert, thanks for the time, but we appreciate it. Have a great vacation, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks, guys. And sorry for the hand signals here. My wife got caught in a construction zone, and now I'm trying to point and everything else. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but
we didn't see the hand signals.
I'm doing my best here to be. I'm doing my best here to be the navigator and on with you guys. So hopefully I didn't screw it up too bad.
The multitasking Albert Breer, that was him from MMQB joining us. Always love. Bobby, I always enjoy the differing backgrounds and stages of life where we have Albert Breer. Sometimes we get him right after working out. Sometimes we get him. Did we get him at a was he at a kids camp? What was he at last time? There was no.
Maybe kids camp. I'm not sure. Albert's got a lot of things going on. I'm just happy he takes some time with us to share here throughout his life and throughout the week, giving us all the NFL news and nuggets that are coming down. It was interesting listening to him talk about the collusion element because, should people really care about that? And is that something that should really matter to them? And it's like, if not, everybody just be watching Taylor Swift every night. And
right.
So I guess there is an element of that. And so when people start talking about guaranteed money and how it impacts the ability to keep your players, I think that is something that's fairly significant with the NFL, but how much does it resonate with the average fan and how important is it to cover? And that's why I wanted to kind of get his color on that.
Right.
And also figure out when he's going to be coming through so we can set up going to get drinks at Gallows or wherever else he's going to be downtown.
I imagine this is his last hurrah of, I don't say rest. I don't think the guy ever rests, but.
No, this is it. I mean, you said the NFL shuts down right now. And so from now until probably July 14th, this will be like the 3 weeks where all the coaches are off. They go see their families. They go on vacation. They hang out and relax before coming back about a week and a half before camp and then get charged up again.
Did you ever see the game show Joker's Wild?
I've never heard of the game show.
Shark, you're familiar with that, right?
Joker. Joker.
Right. When you just did this with the screens, we had Breer on all three screens. It reminded me of Joker's Wild because you kept mixing us up a little bit. I liked it, though.
They changed it up in here since the last time we had to use that. And
you're kidding. They changed it?
Who is they?
The engineers, I guess.
Okay.
But why would it have been?
We've got a meeting this morning, Bob.
Who does?
All the producers.
Oh, okay. All right. God, I want to make sure I didn't miss a
You know
what,
Shark? This is going to be really important for your last 3 days of work.
Well, no, I'm not going to the meeting.
You're not going to the meeting?
No.
You said we.
Well,
the royal we.
I got the invite, but I won't be there.
The royal we is a great nickname.
That's good.
All right, coming up next, we got some quick hitters for you. We're going to talk about the NBA draft a little bit because we didn't do it yesterday, Bob. We'll talk about next. Morning Juice.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we.
Brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together.
Established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS-FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. Bobby Carpenter, husband, father, Buckeye. Jeff Thidoff, husband, father, idiot. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Thank you, Albert Breer, for joining us. By the way, I want to tell you this real quick before we get a quick hitter start. You can join Rothman and the other ice this Friday for a special live broadcast. We kick off the 2025 Beat the Heat Fan Drive. The guys will be live from Westerville Fire Station at 400 West Main Street, and we're asking you to help a neighbor in need. Bring a new box fan to donate, and as a thank you, the first 100 people who drop off a fan will get a pair of free tickets to the Cardale Jones charity softball game at Huntington Park on July 19th. Help Central Ohio stay cool this summer. It's the Beat the Heat Fan Drive in partnership with 10 TV, Life Care Alliance, in the Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now let's hit them rapidly.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
Shark.
What?
It's your last Thursday.
Yes, it is. 6'8" Cooper Flagg played just one season of college basketball at Duke. He does not turn 19 years old until 6 months from now. He was National Player of the Year for the Blue Devils, and it was a no-brainer that he would be the number one pick in the NBA draft, and he was last night by the Dallas Mavericks. Tito, a pair of Rutgers players went in the top 5. Dylan Harper to San Antonio at number 2, Ace Bailey to the Jazz at number 5.
And Ace Bailey does not want to be in Utah, but he said he tried to dictate where he was going to go. He wanted to go to Washington, I think, or Brooklyn, one or the other. But anyway, I think if I'm a Rutgers basketball coach, this stings because it's a good thing you were able to recruit a couple of great players to go in the top 5 of the NBA draft. That's great publicity. But if you've got 2 of the top 5 players picked in the draft and don't make the tournament, Bobby, that's...
No, if you have one of the top 5 players in the draft and you don't get to the tournament, hell, they let 68 teams in.
Yep.
They're going to start letting like 90 in or whatever, from what I've heard. And you're telling me you can't use one of those guys to get there, let alone having 2 of them?
When you think
that's embarrassing.
Of all the times when teams have had like 2 of the top 10 picks or something.
You know what those are called? They're final weekend teams.
When Vince Carter and Antoine Jamison was the same, they were both up there. Jordan and Perkins were.
Rasheed Wallace, it was...
Wallace and Stackhouse.
Wallace and Stackhouse, yep. Jamison and... I mean, they had that happen twice. And yeah, those were Elite 8 teams that have
right. We had last night Cooper Flagg and Knippel. Knippel was third or fourth.
I think he was fourth. He was fourth. Yeah, I think he was fourth. That's where he went. He went number 4. Yeah, you're right.
And Duke did go to the Final Four. Probably should have won the national championship.
God, they should have won the national championship. That was a fun team. But Bobby, like, you think the coach for Rutgers, does this look worse on him?
It's terrible.
Or does it look better because he was able to recruit 2 top 5 kids?
What do they put? What do they say at Ohio State? What's the line here when they see guys get drafted when they recruit them?
I don't know.
Developed here, Thidoff.
Okay, develop here.
Where did they develop?
You're talking about football now, not basketball.
You switched up on me there, Bob. I thought we were going basketball. I was trying to think of any sayings that Diebler had or something like that. I wasn't sure what Holtman may have said once.
What did they develop? They developed in draft picks, but their team was bad.
Yeah.
So, did they get that much better? Did they play better? I don't think so.
They only got 1 year. Does that matter? I mean, when you talk about develop them, I know with college football,
how many years was Cooper Flagg at Duke? Exactly, Bob.
I think
exactly, Bob.
I think
that's
one.
the answer.
I think 1. but based on what Sharks the news he just broke about that, I believe yes. Do you think that Cooper Flagg is going to have a very significant impact as a rookie, or is it going to take him time? I don't know.
It'll be better, but that's the thing. I was surprised if you're Dallas, you wouldn't trade that pick and go try to get Giannis or
Jaylen Brown.
Trade him for Jaylen Brown. That's the other piece.
Yeah.
That you would look at. And I'm not saying that they should, but if you're telling me, I just remembered that when the Cavs were looking, who was the guy coming out, the Canadian feller?
Anthony Bennett.
No.
Yes.
It was Anthony Bennett.
That's not who I'm referring to.
That's who they took.
Canadian. Tristan Thompson. He's Canadian.
No, the one they traded the pick for Kevin Love. They drafted him and traded
Wiggins
him.
or
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cavs have drafted a lot of Canadians. Andrew Wiggins. And they traded Wiggins. I was like, why would you do that? And they're like, well, because he's not going to be ready to go for another 2 or 3 years. The player that he ultimately needs to be. And Cooper Flagg is 18. He'll be really good, I think. I think he'll be good this year, but will he be good enough while those two guys are still in their prime?
Right.
I mean, hell, Kyrie's dragging his leg around. I mean, Anthony Davis gets hurt walking down the stairs. Is he going to be good enough while those guys are still under the age of 35? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I kind of thought they would get a haul for it and make a deal. And even just to move down a little bit if they want to do that too, and also get a veteran that could contribute right now. Speaking of Kyrie, Shark, what do you got for us next?
Well, Bobby mentioned this yesterday, but we didn't talk about it. Nationwide Arena is 25 years old. It needs an expensive renovation. Now think about this. It cost $175 million to build Nationwide, which opened in 2000. It'll cost $400 million to renovate it. The makeover would include a new bar with views of the ice, an enlarged entrance, a rooftop terrace, a new LED screen, and an elevated walkway that connects the arena to McConnell Garage. Who's going to pay for all of this renovation, Bob? Well, let's hope that contributions
Unclaimed
will come
funds
from the Blue Jackets, private partners, and city, county, and state funding.
They just charge more for the tickets.
But yeah, we'll end up paying for it. The fans will pay for it.
Fans or the city or the state.
I know, but I'm saying, but I think that I do. The ticket prices will also go up as well. I got to believe in this. But if the rendition, and I don't know how often the renderings end up looking exactly like.
Sure, it looks sweet.
They always look so good.
They
don't
do.
They artist rendering.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to look sweet. There's a lot of things. They're putting an awning outside the main little deal outside, so you're not going to be getting rained on when you're waiting to get waiting to get in anymore. I mean, there's
Trying
some
to
good
run
stuff.
through traffic on Nationwide Boulevard.
Oh,
That's exciting.
Playing Frogger, yeah. But you look at the Bob, like the artist renderings. If it comes anywhere close to that, it's going to be huge. I'm excited about it. And you have me at bar, and you say bar, watching over the ice, see the ice. Yeah, that's even better right there. But they talk about tripling the size of the team store and moving that as well. The team store is in a weird spot. It's kind of it's a weird shape. Also, it seems very narrow when you're in there.
Well, it's where it is because it can be accessed from outside when the arena's closed, and also it's at the entrance to the arena. But yeah, they're going to triple that thing in size. The thing I like about that team shop, it's so cheap in there.
Yeah.
Jerseys and T-shirts are so inexpensive.
Yeah, that's what it is. By the way, that was the best thing about the NHL strike when they had it, is because everything was discounted, and I got my son way back when a personalized Jackets 99 jersey with a C on it and all this stuff, and I think I paid like $35 for it. Maybe
what's amazing? They built then Jacobs Field in 1994 for $225 million. Now it would cost $1.5 billion to build. To build the same building 30 years later. Nationwide's only 25 years old. It cost $175 to build, and now it's going to be 2.5 times that to renovate. That just blows my mind.
That's called inflation, Shark.
Well, I guess that's what it's called. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Do you guys ever check your unclaimed funds? Have you ever looked at that up?
I don't think they belong to me.
Yeah, you get those. The problem is half the stuff I feel like spam and phishing. So I may be trying to get $7,000 in unclaimed funds, and they may swindle me for 50 grand.
There's like a legit website, like a state website.
There is.
My
wife's gone there before, and we've gotten some small checks from it, but nothing.
Have you really?
Yeah, I think so.
I've looked at it, and they'll always say, then they say you got to fill this form out, and I say I don't do it. I think I've got like $85 out there running around somewhere. I don't know about Heather if she has any or not, but I'd like to know that. I need my parents to look at it too, because they're older. They may have more.
They may be a little confused.
Maybe.
You know what's
as long
worse?
as they paid those parking tolls in Minnesota.
I've paid so many of those.
You know what's worse is when you've got a winning lottery ticket and you don't cash it in because you lost it.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens.
That's awful.
Dallas Mavericks 9-time All-Star guard Kyrie Irving suffered a torn ACL nearly 4 months ago. He has declined his $43 million player option with the Mavs, but he is staying in Dallas. Irving won't return from his injury until January at the earliest, but is signing a 3-year, $119 million contract with the Mavs after averaging 25 points and 4.5 assists before the injury. Tito, he is going to be part of a pretty good Dallas nucleus that includes Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg, the very selfish Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
33 years old now.
It seems like he's older than that, and this is me being surprised he gets hurt. They may as well get Sam Bowie on that team, too.
Oh, my gosh. Now, there's a good call.
Thank you.
Kyrie got picked ahead of Jordan, you know.
I know. Kyrie, yes, when he's healthy, is such a fun player to watch. But I fear, Shark, that, when he comes back in January, whatever it is, we got like Bobby said, Anthony Davis gets hurt walking upstairs. I wonder if this has been a smart play. It's going to end up costing Nico Harrison his job, I have to believe, after the Luka trade, if this doesn't pan out to be something great. But
they'd better make an NBA Finals.
Yeah, I mean, they did the year before with Luka.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You better make it again without Luka because you traded him away.
Yeah, we saw this coming. He was going to, obviously decline that option, get more money, less average, but more money on that one. It amazes me, Bobby. I went and did a search on like DeMar DeRozan. When he signed a deal with the Kings a couple years ago or something, a few years back, he was like one of the top 10 highest paid players in the NBA, and now he's like down near with the same contract, like the 80th highest paid player.
Yeah.
It's called inflation.
Thank you, Shark. I appreciate that one. The education of Tito continues on that one. But it's I don't know if this will age well. He'll be 36 then when it's over, Shark, right? You're going to pay him.
He took less money per year.
Yeah.
When his deal was expiring to get more years and more money total, which leads me to believe that he might not be feeling great about his injury situation.
Am I wrong? He only played 11 games at Duke and then got hurt.
Yep.
Right, and then went to he
played 5 games, 6 games during the regular season, and then 5 in the tournament. So 11 games total, and then was the number 1 pick in the draft.
It's amazing. The draft last night. I don't know. It's so much hard. It's so much different watching the NBA draft than watching the NFL draft for me, just because it's.
Because you didn't know anybody.
You don't know them.
Watching this draft, and I
saying,
knew about 7 guys.
Yeah. Guys don't have to stay in college for 1 year, so you don't develop them. Hell, 2 of the top 5 guys no one probably knew nationally because they played in college together but didn't make the NCAA tournament. And then the rest of the guys are foreigners, like dudes that can't really speak English, or they can, but you've never heard of them. You've never seen them. They're showing some grainy footage from Lithuania where guys playing some 40-year-old man smoking a cig.
3 guys from France were drafted last night. You had a guy from Spain.
And I'm against that. I like Rudy Gobert, but I'm against less Frenchmen in our sports and just less French people in the United States, unless you're willing to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen.
What about French fries, though?
Freedom fries?
Freedom fries. A 22-year-old fan has been banned indefinitely from all Major League Baseball ballparks after yelling something about Arizona Diamondbacks second baseman Ketel Marte's late mother during Tuesday's game against the Chicago White Sox.
Stay classy, America.
Marte was brought to tears by the incident, which occurred while he was at bat in the 7th inning. His mother died in a car accident in the Dominican Republic in 2017. Team personnel heard the comment, asked that the fan be ejected, and according to a source familiar with the situation, the fan was remorseful for his actions, admitting to his inappropriate comments, but the White Sox said, no, we're not doing that around here, and he has been banned, like I said, indefinitely. Bob, what's my question to you? Do fans have the right to...
When you pay your ticket, you can say whatever you want?
I guess.
So a couple angles on this, first of all. Number one, I've never believed that. I guess you pay your ticket, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not impacting other people around you and staying within the bounds of society. And so there is that. Now, the moral obligation, should you be
a human being?
Should you be a human being and trying to trash somebody's deceased mother who tragically died in a car accident when they were younger? I don't know if you should. Who was the player, by the way?
Ketel Marte.
I don't even know who that is.
He's an all-star.
It's great. How many people watched that game? Like 5 million. So he plays for the Diamondbacks. Here's the reason you could hear it, because they were playing in Chicago with the White Sox over there, about 25 people at the game.
I don't know what the attendance was.
That's a good question. That's a fair question.
Over under like 7,000, because I feel like the under might hit on that. I feel like the Sox might be kind of hovering around that Oakland A's final couple of years where they had hundreds and hundreds of people at their games. So there's that element. If it would have been a loud stadium, I don't know if you would have been able to hear it in the dugout. Or if you can hear individual fans yelling at you in the dugout, like there's probably not enough people in the stadium.
Did you ever hear fans like the?
And so that's the last piece of it. Is you're a professional athlete, man. I understand your mom died tragically. I've heard some of the most grotesque and incomprehensible things come out of the stands from people right behind you.
Yeah.
And they've said terrible stuff. About myself, more so my teammates' families, your family, like everything. You don't turn around. You don't acknowledge them.
Right.
And so be a professional athlete is the last piece of this. I understand the guy insulted your dead mother.
He
who
broke
died
down.
In the car.
He was crying.
You're going to be crying in there like, dude, you're a professional athlete. You're getting paid millions of dollars
to
go play a sport. These people are paying money to watch you. Does that mean that guy in the stadium is a good person? No. He's a jerk. He's an a-hole. He's everything that is wrong with our country at times. But you still don't acknowledge it. Like, you're a professional athlete, man. And so people ask, like, why, and I don't like the term hazing, I think is inappropriate, like why they use initiations and things in professional sports, and why those guys talk like that in the locker room and they say these things. You know why they have to? Because you have to learn to play through that stuff and understand that it doesn't matter because of the things you hear coming out of the stands.
I remember, hang on just 1 second. I remember when Steve Kerr was at the University of Arizona, an All-American, and during his senior season, his father had been gunned down. He was a professor at an American university in Lebanon. Just a horrible, tragic death. And a fan behind the basket held up a sign when Kerr was at the free throw line. I forget what the sign said, but it alluded to his father getting shot. I feel like that's grounds for removal.
If you're bringing a sign in there, and this guy should be kicked out. Did Steve Kerr start crying and walk off the court, though? No, he played the game.
He did.
I'm not saying that what happened was wrong. And this is what I tell my kids all the time. Listen, what your sibling did was wrong and inappropriate, and they deserve to be punished for it. How you reacted to it was too extreme. You've got to learn to put that stuff out of your head.
He has been banned by Major League Baseball now for all stadiums, which I'm glad.
I'm not debating whether that should be the case. I'm debating whether a grown man should start crying about that, though, and be unable to perform their task at hand. I would repeat. I can't repeat the things that have been said and what I've heard said to me and other people. Like, just awful stuff. Dude, understand, do you care about that person? Do they matter 1 ounce in your life? Then ignore it.
Yeah, that's funny. My wife and I had a conversation yesterday, actually. She's reading a book called, I think it's called Let Them. I don't know if you've heard of that book or not, but
I have a feeling that I understand what kind of where the book is going, though.
It's a Dr. Seuss. No, but it's a, it's just basically a book like, when people do stuff or people behave a certain way,
let them do it.
Just let them do it. Just let them do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And just,
you can't impact their behavior.
Right. And I never thought about it before just now, Bobby.
Engaging only makes it worse.
Hazing and initiation has got like such negative connotations anymore because of the stories of, but the thing you mentioned about it, how that's part of why it's done is to get players can play through it. I mean, I always thought it was just literally hazing initiation. I didn't think of that aspect of it. And that's interesting to me that's one of the byproducts of it.
Listen, there's a lot of people that have said a lot of things to me over the years. If I don't value your opinion, I don't care what you say. How does that impact my life?
Right.
Like why would you take criticism from someone you'd never take advice from?
That's a good point right there, Bob.
Do you think he's going to ever call that guy in the stands about, hey, will you analyze my swing?
Yeah.
What am I doing in the field? Like, you don't care about that person. So, like, that's a great, I might let them. I might have to read that.
Yeah.
I know that you're not going to read it. So maybe when Heather's done with it, she could pass it to me.
Yeah, you could absolutely. She'll give it to you. I mean, if she...
Could she put some lipstick on it, though, and kiss one of the pages for me?
If I told her to, of course she would, Bob. You've got her phone number. But I'm telling you that, I won't read it, but I'll get the Cliff's Notes version from her because I'm sure a lot of it will apply to me somehow. And
do you think you're the other side of that?
I think I'm them. I think I'm them. Yeah, I think I'm them in this situation.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think I'm the them. Thanks, Bobby. Bobby let the cat out of the bag, but the CFP is likely expanding in the NCAA tournament, saying, hold my beer. Not my Breer, my beer. That's next. Morning Juice.
Bobby Carpenter here with the Riverside Bank of Dublin Sports Money Report. Central Ohio is home to a lot of sporting events that bring in millions of dollars of economic impact to our town. These events are huge for the city, providing revenue for local businesses, job creation, infrastructure development, and many other benefits. Here's Chuck Moore, CEO, and Travis Sanders, president of Riverside Bank of Dublin, on how they help local businesses prosper year-round.
Thanks, Bobby. We truly value our local businesses and the opportunity to work alongside them as partners. Whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job.
Whether you need an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs.
Right on the target, Travis. We understand the business climate in Central Ohio, and we will help you reach your goals.
Tune in every day for the Riverside Bank of Dublin Sports Money Report. Visit their office at 6300 France Road in Dublin or online at riverside.bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
We built a brand new studio just for Bobby, and Tito has already ruined it just by being here.
I'm pregnant.
This is Morning Juice.
Join us Friday night for the Blue Jackets draft special on The Fan. Bob McGillicuddy and Dylan Tyre will be live from Nationwide Arena as the Jackets look to add some exciting new talent to the lineup. It all starts Friday at 6. The Blue Jackets Draft Special, sponsored by Ohio Health, only on The Fan, Ohio sports destination. One of our chatting MVPs here in the Juice chat, Bob. Phil wants to know, do you think the heckling made you tougher? Did it ever get to you, or were you just mature enough to show it? To be above it, to be above it.
There's times where, when you're emotional and it hits on a personal level, it's hard to overlook it. But that's what you're paid to do. It's your job. And so the ability to compartmentalize things I think is the most important piece of sports.
Yeah.
The most important piece of life, to tell you the truth. And I tell my kids this, nobody cares. They talk about the Brett Favre story, him going out and throwing 4 touchdown passes when his dad passed away.
Yeah, that Monday night game, yeah.
And you talk about how great that is, and how can people do that? I'm like, well, they channel the emotion in a positive way, but they compartmentalize everything. And there's been, I played a game in Philadelphia when I was in Dallas. I think it was in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. It's 2007 or 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandma passed away on, Friday. And, she had lived with us for her last, 8 years I was in the house.
Yeah.
93 my grandfather passed in 93, and she moved in 6 months later. And so, they lived beside us. So, it was it was someone I saw on a daily basis. And, when she passed, and I asked my mom, can you hold the funeral till Tuesday? I'd like to be able to go. And they obliged and did that. I probably, looking back, should have went and talked to our Wade Phillips and said, hey, if you want to have it on Monday or Sunday night, whatever, I'll fly. And we were playing the Eagles on Monday night. And so I couldn't even fly out Monday after our practice because we weren't done until Monday Night Football. We're getting back to the house at 1 o'clock. I think it was a home game, I'm pretty sure. I think it may have been the game where Deshaun Jackson dropped the ball running into the end zone, to tell you the truth. But 2 yards out, and they didn't know what to do about it.
Right.
But I had to fly out that next morning. My dad picks me up at the airport. We drive, we go to the funeral, and I remember asking him, why are we playing the piano and not the organ? And he's like, why are the lights off? And it was when they had that big storm that came through, and the power was out for 8 days. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. The lights are off in church. And so we go there. I took the first flight in and the last flight out on Tuesday. And I remember thinking, dude, nobody cares. If I would have made a mistake in that game on Monday night,
right.
Nobody betting on it or watching the game would have cared that my grandma died. It would have been a story that was part of it. You tell me you couldn't focus or you couldn't do this, you weren't ready to play. My son was born on December 1st on a Tuesday before a game. We're in Dallas and we're on, in the playoff home. We ended up winning, our first playoff game in Dallas since Troy Aikman was there in 98.
Right.
That season. We had my son RJ on Tuesday. There were some complications when he was born. After he came, he'd end up being all right. I went in the facility that night to get treatment, to get my game plans and stuff, so I'd be ready to go on Wednesday, because that's what I normally did. And then they drove my neighbor drove my wife home from the hospital, and RJ, I think, on Thursday, because it was during practice.
Right.
Nobody cares if I missed a tackle or blew a coverage on that Sunday. Nobody cares. So I tell my kids that nobody cares. So the thing, let them. You can say whatever you want. You can talk with all the trash you want about me, and maybe this happened in my life. Maybe this hasn't gone well for me. Maybe I've missed this play before. This is the thing about my mom. Say this about my dad. Say this about my wife. Whatever it is, I don't care, because I don't. If you're gonna say those things, I have no respect for you. And listen, I get it. You're trying to get under my skin, and if I let you, then you've achieved your objective. So that's how I've kind of always tried to look at this. And then the ultimate line, and I've heard Aaron Rodgers say it. I read it in a book, and it's floating around you don't take advice from people, or don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from. So someone yelling something random to you in the stands or on the street, yeah, there's times where I think Shaq said this or Barkley's, like, people are real tough because no one gets punched in the face anymore.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I'm not saying, Steve Kerr, our producer Fish came in and talked about the fish thing. His dad, they were chanting PLO, which is the Palestine Liberation Organization. Those are the folks in Lebanon that killed his dad. They're chanting that. I guess he did punch one of the people on the floor, on the bed, wherever, with it all. And I get it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have done that. But also it's like, hey, you need to keep your cool through it all or else they win. So to Heather's book, let them.
Yeah.
I need to read that. Phil asked when I'm going to write a book.
That's my next question. Where are you at on it?
Where am I at on writing
I've told
a book?
you, Bobby, I have told you need to write a book.
I actually have a bunch of notes because I'm putting together all this leadership stuff to build out this whole class. And so people always say there should be a book that should go along with it. And so maybe there will be. I don't have any more time, Thidoff, though. That's the problem.
Oh, you've got time.
If someone could give me a couple hours, that I'd be able to do that.
With all the things like this that you just talked about, and I could see it in your eyes. You got emotional talking about your grandmother and about that situation. What happened there?
I mean, it's just like it's something that I wish I would have been able to come back and spend time with my family and talk about it a little more. But I mean, I was doing a job,
and I'm not trying to get
and
you
I'll
on
tell other people. I mean, people can make their own choices of what they value and how they operate. My grandma would have probably wanted me to play in the game. So
yeah, I'm not trying to get you on the couch right now, which sounds weird saying that to another man. But I was going to say though that I got to believe the fact she lived with you. Buy me
a drink first.
The fact that you lived with her for that long and saw her. Probably even formed a more special bond between
that's the case. People talk about, well, my cousin died, this or that, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not telling you who is important in your life or who's not. It's just what was the impact that they had. She lived beside us for a long time, and then after my grandfather passed when I was about 9, she moved in with us after she had a massive heart attack. So my mom refused to let her die, and even though I think she wanted to, and then she lived. What would that have been, another 14 years or something? And so, yeah, and she lived with us, and she was there. There was an omnipresence to her just throughout my life. And so, yeah, when someone like that goes that you're probably a little closer to because you see them more frequently, there's going to be probably a little bigger impact.
It is unfortunate on some levels when something that happens where she has to live with you guys. Like it's unfortunate that happens, but I think
my mom made her. I don't think she had a choice.
Well, I'm saying if somebody but in cases where like somebody has difficult to care for themselves because they're older and whatnot.
Oh, she could care for herself. She was just morbidly obese, and my mom said you're going to get your fat rear end in shape. She lost like 140 pounds, and then she was good. Now at the end, she needed a lot more help,
but I'm saying it can be a blessing though. From the standpoint of
blessing
that you get that time with them. God, how do I transition to this? The NCAA tournament, Bob, is likely to expand next season. And there's talk about if it will go to 72 or 76 teams, according to ESPN.
Stop there?
Well,
let's go to 96.
Whatever change they make, it's also going to apply to the women's tournament as well, not just the men's tournament.
You know what? Let's let them all in. Why do we even have them? It's like then the committee will be off the hook. Make this thing like 5 or 6 weekends. More is better. Think of how long you can take to fill out your bracket, all 400 teams.
Oh my gosh. They're also changing, by the way.
Names.
They're changing the limit on how many games you can play in the regular season.
Yeah, more.
From 31 to 32. And their hope is that
why are they even capping it at 32?
Their hope is that you will get teams will be expanding the tournament and then also going to 32. Teams will schedule that 32nd game against a quality opponent, maybe put more intriguing regular season matchups out there. But I don't know. Shark, I don't watch nearly as much college basketball as I used to because you get in the tournament. Most teams get in the tournament, it seems like. I know it's not most mathematically, but I know Ohio State's missed it, 3 years in a row? Mm-hmm. But if you go to 76 like that, God, that's a big jump.
God, it was so great. The math worked perfectly with the 64-team bracket.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Have 20 games in Dayton.
They're gonna
get some more buys in there.
They said they'll have to get a second venue for the other play-in games.
But that's what that will be.
Yeah.
Let me think about this. If you had 76 and we got to get it down to 64, that means you're going to have 24 teams playing 12 games.
64 to 76 would be 68 to 76. Well, yeah, 64 to 76. Right, you get down. That's
12, which would be 12 games. 24 teams would be in those. What do we call them? Play-in games, opening round, whatever they call
play-in games now. What they call it.
And then we're going to create the 64 team bracket.
Right.
I don't like it. What are we doing?
I think this is great.
Fans are going to eat it up. They're going to love it.
Oh,
I
just
don't
more.
know. TV
Just
networks
more.
will make more money. I
That's
don't know.
That's what we're all about.
But I'm saying now it's more.
But are you really intrigued by those 4 games in Dayton?
I'm not, unless it is a Rutgers with 2 top 5 picks or Ohio State playing or something like that.
Yeah, but that's not what it's going to be.
Not gonna, I know,
it's going to be Southwest, East, North Missouri State.
I don't think it will be. I think they'll
still do the 11 seeds and the 16
seeds. There's a
12,
12, right? 11. I think it's whatever it is. Yes, you're right. Yeah, it's a 12 or 16s, whatever. 11
it's
to 16.
the final
11's right, yeah.
at-large teams,
final at-large
and
team,
then the final
you're right, yes.
teams in the 16s.
It's the final countdown.
It is the final countdown. We've gone astray in sports. The NHL going to 84 games.
You said more is better, Shark.
No, I never said that, Bob. Only in baseball. 162 games is not enough.
You know what? I'd be okay with it if they did more doubleheaders.
In baseball?
Yes.
A Sunday doubleheader.
Yes.
A Memorial Day doubleheader.
The twilight scheduled doubleheaders.
Yes. And I'm not talking day-night doubleheaders. I'm talking
back to back. I hate the day-night thing. You know, as a kid, if you got lucky enough to go on when there was a rain out or something, a doubleheader the next day, you got the double game for one.
Now I go up to Cleveland for a day-night doubleheader. I got to find the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, something to do for 6 hours in between games. Don't like it, Tito.
This is why, Shark, we need a segment with you every week to talk about things like this, because Bodie and Bobby and I will not be able to talk about it.
You've got my number. Just call me.
I'm sure break glass. I'll give you Jan's number too. But I remember filling out brackets and there was like 48 teams. We used to have like the top 4 seeds in each region got buys in the first round.
Yep. I remember when they had, I remember 40 teams.
Yeah.
I remember when Ohio State played Syracuse down south somewhere.
Right.
Syracuse, when they won, because everybody knew they were going to beat Ohio State, would get to host the regional.
Right.
They had a home game, 2 home games, and Ohio State beat them. And so we wound up playing in Syracuse against Jordan and Carolina. But, yeah, we had the first NCAA tournament was 8 teams, I believe.
I think it was, yeah.
Ohio State beat Cal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to 12 and 16 and 24. I don't remember what size it was when I started watching, probably 24.
That's what she said.
And you couldn't have 2 teams from the same conference.
Yeah. You
could only take the conference champion.
Yeah. The one year Ohio State played UCLA with Clark Kellogg was there. I remember talking to him about this when the game was at UCLA, I believe. I think it was there.
Was it really?
I think it was. That's the game where Ohio State had like 3 or 4 guys foul out, I think.
And UCLA went on to play Louisville in the national championship, like 1980.
Daryl Griffith, Dr. Duncanstein with the fake thumb.
Gosh, we had Herbie and I don't know if Kelvin. Yeah, I think Kelvin was still on that team.
Kelvin was still there. It was Kelvin and Herbie.
Kellogg was a freshman.
Jim Smith. And then you had Carter Scott and Todd Penn. Bobby, you loving this?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, I know about half the people you're talking about
You
here.
know them all.
I don't know all of them.
You know Herb Williams.
I know Herb Williams.
You know Clark Kellogg.
I know Clark Kellogg.
You know Carter Scott.
Well.
Carter Scott.
I don't think I've met Carter Scott.
Carter Scott went to Barberton.
Left-hander.
And Todd Penn went to Linden. And they played each other in the state championship.
Is he related to Sean?
I don't think he is. Maybe a brother of a mother, because I believe they are racially different.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean,
is that the correct way to put it? Can I say racially different?
Barberton.
One's black, one's white.
Barberton was.
You confirm that?
Yeah, I know Todd Penn's black.
Can you confirm Sean Penn is white though?
That's a good point.
Bo Schembechler, Barberton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Elvis Gerbach.
He was he meant? No, he wasn't mentor. He might have been
somewhere in Cleveland.
Yeah, he's from
somewhere.
Barberton's out east, though, right?
Barberton is, I think, west of Cleveland, isn't it?
Is it west of? No. I've seen it. I've been to Barberton, I believe.
I don't want to say because I'm probably wrong. It might be south. It might be closer to Akron.
That's where I was thinking, that it was like out east, like south of Cleveland more.
And this concludes.
Let's talk about Chick Harley.
This concludes the 1980 Ohio State basketball segment and geography in Ohio.
They should name the Ohio Stadium after Chick Harley. He's the reason why they built
That's the whole reason right there. If you're not Juice, we'll get you Juice. We'll tell you what's got us Juice next on Juice.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
If you're looking for the inside scoop on the Buckeyes, you've come to the right place. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Before we get into what's got you juiced, that UCLA game was in Arizona. All right. UCLA won 72-68. Ohio, this was on, because I know you all want to know this. You're waiting for this. March 13th, 1980. UCLA was whistled for 14 fouls. Clark Kellogg told me how, he didn't say unfair. He was very polite about it. But Ohio State got whistled for 27. Herb Williams and Jim Smith both only had 2 fouls. Herb Williams played the entire game. But Ramsey, Clark Kellogg, and Carter Scott all fouled out of the game.
Wow.
Ramsey scored 29 points and fouled out. And they lost that game.
Also, we need to clear up where Barberton is, Bob.
Yeah,
Barberton is just southwest of Akron, right there. East of Wadsworth. And that's why I knew I'd seen signs for when I was driving to Youngstown. We're driving over there, up to that area, the Warren, Howland, Youngstown area. I was like, I know I've seen signs for Barberton off 277 and 76. And proved to be correct.
I had Todd Penn on my show, on a show a few years back, when he was getting, I think, inducted into the, I don't know, so Ohio State Tournament, some kind of Hall of Fame. No, it was something else had a lot to do with his Linden days. But, yeah, he used to work at Sears, I think, over on Morse Road when the mall was there. I remember seeing him there also years ago. That concludes Todd Penn's segment. Let's do What's Got You Juiced.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Oh, it's a Thursday, Bob. I think that means Shark or Schlegs goes first.
Schlegs.
Columbus, Ohio, volleyball is huge here. It's like one of the meccas of like youth volleyball. And to have women playing professionally in your city, I just think it's great for young ladies to be able to go and say, hey, man, I could potentially be a professional volleyball. Like, there's an avenue for that.
Thanks, Schlegs, for that. Columbus Chamber of Commerce. I almost forgot that this was happening this summer, but the Reds and Braves are playing a regular season game at Bristol Motor Speedway. And the track...
In East Tennessee?
The track hosted a college football game in 2016. It drew 157,000 fans, NCAA record. Now Bristol has a chance to set an MLB attendance record. The game's going to be on August 2nd. What are you looking at?
I think I know what the record crowd is.
Yeah, on what's today? Thursday. On Tuesday, the Cincinnati and Atlanta mascots were there for the start of the transformation from track to baseball diamond. And when you hear what it takes to do that, you're going to be saying, why are they doing all of this for one game? First, you need 17,500 tons of gravel to level the infield. Then 340 tons of Pennsylvania clay for the playing surface. The grass is going to be synthetic. 124,000 square feet being hauled in. Then you've got to build a fence with padding and foul poles. 215 lights are being added to the top of the track. Locker rooms are being built with showers, strength and conditioning rooms, coaches' offices, and batting cages for one game.
So are they playing a series?
One game. No, one game.
They're putting a weight room?
Yes. In March of 2008, the Dodgers hosted the Red Sox in a spring training game at the Los Angeles Coliseum. It drew 115,000 fans. That's the all-time record for a baseball game. So there is a chance that Bristol's going to break that record on August 2nd. And then, after the game ends, they have 6 weeks to remove the baseball stadium and turn the field back into a track for the NASCAR playoffs on September 13th. I'm going to watch, obviously, but I'm just wondering, how expensive is that to turn a track into a baseball diamond for one game?
Unclaimed funds.
Unclaimed funds. Doesn't make much sense to me. Last night, as Tito mentioned earlier, the Guards beat the Blue Jays. Jose Ramirez, an RBI single in the first. They jump out to a 1-0 lead, then a 3-1 lead. Then they fall behind 4-3. And then my man Lane Thomas hits a home run in the sixth, tied up 4-4. Bottom of the 10th, Jose comes back up with the bases loaded. Take it away, Tom Hamilton.
And Ramirez swings and lines it to left. Base hit. Ball game. Jose Ramirez laces one down the left field line. Scoring Angel Martinez with a game winner.
Tom Hamilton, 70 years old. What are we going to ever do without him, Bob?
70, huh? He's still doing his job.
Still doing his job.
At 70.
He took the West Coast road trip off.
Well, yeah, you could take holidays off.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
They didn't used to do that.
No.
Now they do it all the time. During the season, broadcasters take
They only
a
work
vacation.
half the year.
I know.
No
You
vacation.
love you some Jose Ramirez, don't you?
I do. The statue's already being designed because he's going
It
to get
took
one.
less
At
money.
your house?
No, outside the stadium.
I'm sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
Yeah, it took less money to stay there.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's why Shark. When he did that, he endeared himself to Shark from now until eternity.
He could have made $40 million a year, and he signed in Cleveland for $21 million a year.
Jeez,
Good
what a
for
guy!
him.
What a guy!
What a guy!
What a guy! Loves it up there. He said he comes to Cleveland for the winners.
No,
So they're the best.
No, he's back in the
They're the
Dominican.
best.
The winners.
It's got me juiced. I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard so much mid-'80s Ohio State basketball talk And I know some of the characters.
No, late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, okay, late 70s.
Mid-80s.
Outside of Herb and Clark, I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys that I'm drawing from that.
Larry Huggins? Mitch Haas?
Well, now you're getting into the 80s. You've heard of Troy Taylor and Ronnie Stokes.
I've met Ronnie. I know Ronnie. I know who Troy is.
Brad Sellers, you know that name?
No.
7-footer transfer from Wisconsin.
Middleburg Heights,
That's
Ohio.
amazing.
Ronnie Stokes had Jerry curls.
All right, enough of that. That had me like juiced in a weird, awkward way because it's like, this is kind of cool, but eventually it's like when you guys start talking about 1930s baseball that my eyes start to glaze over and I start to fall asleep. But I ran across this little nugget with Ray Allen, and I've always kind of liked Jesus Shuttlesworth. I feel like he does it the right way. People talk about how he got to be such a great shooter, and he's like, I got to be such a great shooter because I worked at it. And I practiced all the time. Like, I wasn't born a great shooter. And this is a little parenting advice and coaching advice, whatever it is, from Ray Allen.
The story about the boy and the butterfly, and a lot of people know this, the boy walks into the woods, and he sees the butterfly coming out of the cocoon, and he was like, oh, look, the butterfly, and he starts opening up the cocoon to help the butterfly out. And the butterfly falls to the ground and it dies. And the reason it died is because the butterfly uses the cocoon to strengthen his wings so it can, in order for it to fly. So that adversity that the butterfly has to go through at that time in its early life is what allows it to be strong. And a lot of times that's what parents are doing to their kids, is they're opening up that cocoon for them so they don't have to kind of strengthen their arms to fly for the rest of their life. That's what happens in AAU sports. That's what happens in the middle school and in the high school, because they're trying to take the adversity away from their kid. And as a coach, for me, I'm trying to put adversity in front of them, because that's how you learn.
And then that's how you end up crying during a game. So let's the adversity.
Parents are the worst.
The parents are the worst. Listen, let your kids struggle a little bit. It's not the worst thing in the world. They'll come through it the other side. No parent wants to watch their kids struggle. It stinks and it's painful, but watching them go through it, it will help them learn to solve their problems and to self-regulate and to be able to handle all that stuff on their own. I don't know how my parents let me do stuff like that because I was an emotional wreck growing up, but you eventually will work through all those things on your own if you give them the opportunity to strengthen those wings, Shark, so they can spread them and eventually fly. That's got me juiced as well. And then today I'm going to have on my show with Schlegs at noon, we're having Carlos Lachlan on, I think live from Canada, Ohio State's running back coach. Get a chance to talk to him and talk about soft batch cookies. Said no soft batch cookies. We're not dealing with that. Referring to the players. I think he does like his cookies soft, but he likes his dumbbells nice, heavy, and hard because he does a lot of curls and has jacked arms.
Is he up there recruiting or just on vacation?
In Canada?
Look, wait.
It's summer in Canada, Bob. A lot of people go to Canada for vacation.
So wait, you're going to... No, he said he's up there recruiting.
I know there has been.
Yeah, that's...
It's dead period, big dog. Dead period started on Sunday.
Yeah. So I'm not going to vacate anything.
We got a lot of Canadian players here.
No, we don't. Listen to me.
Come on.
A Canadian high school team came down here and played football against one of our high school teams. They're trying to grow the game.
They come down all the time and play teams in Ohio.
Okay.
Lancaster's played multiple Canadian teams throughout the years. I actually played with a player from Canada on Ohio State.
No kidding. See, now, not such a dumb statement now by me.
I like Chi-Chi, but he was not very good.
Okay.
Did he say a boat and
He did have his, yeah.
Did he understand the 4 downs?
Yes, he understood how it went.
Did he pay off bets with Canadian money with you?
He did not. He was American when he was here. He was a good guy, Mike Roberts, but that's one guy out of 25 years.
That's fine. You know what? Find the other diamond in the rough.
And it's also the dead period.
I didn't realize the dead period thing. So
Why
that part's
is
dumb
Carlos
for me.
in Canada?
I think probably for a fishing trip, I'm guessing.
All right.
That's what I would speculate.
Doesn't live there in the off season.
He does not, but I'm going to ask him. Speculation, yeah.
Bobby, we got a suggestion in the chat to title your book, Passing the Balance Test. Would be the title. I still like that Jesus wasn't the only carpenter.
My journey with Shark through his final years of work.
Somebody on the chat said that Shark's mailing it in.
Yeah, I heard that also.
What was I?
Well, I'm not sure, but I will tell you this.
What was that in reference to?
You did botch quick hitters because Bobby brought up Kyrie when we were talking about the draft picks.
Yes.
The draft. And I said to you, speaking of Kyrie, Shark, what's next?
I knew
and you
exactly
went
what you were
nationwide.
doing, but sometimes we only get through 2 quick hitters, and I wanted to make sure we got the Nationwide Arena story in. That's why
Because
I
we're up against the
bypassed.
clock?
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead. What has you juiced?
First, I want to clarify, Bobby, would I be mentioned in your book?
I don't know.
Chapter 27.
I'm not asking for a chapter on me. I just wanted to maybe late in the book, but I just didn't know if I would be mentioned in the book.
Maybe. Well, yeah. I mean, your wife would be, because Let Them might be the inspiration for this.
I'm glad.
I'll bring up Heather at least.
I'm glad that
Heather
I brought
too.
something towards you to inspire you to write a book. What's got me juiced? You know what? I am finally adjusted to getting up early. It sometimes was a struggle early on. I would take a nap during my lunch, and
you are so old.
Listen, whatever. But I find like I'm powering through the days now without having to do that. And I actually, my body, I've got my alarm set every morning, but I get up half an hour before the alarm now. My body is set and trained to do that, Bob. So I know you've done it for years.
Yeah.
And you're still of that, you do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day. I get that because you usually get a workout in and things like that. But it is huge for me personally to be able to be adjusted now to the, I don't know, what was it? Like it's supposed to be 21 days to build a habit or something? Is that what it is?
I believe that's what they say.
I just know the title of the book. I've never read it, but I remember hearing other people talk about it. But yeah.
What was the last book you read?
See, you're going to find this hard to believe, Bob.
You read Let Them before Heather did?
I reread books instead of reading new books. The last book I reread Beyond the Sixth Game by Peter Gammons, which came out in the late 80s, early 90s, whatever.
He's almost dead.
I know. I reread it, even though I know how it ends. I've got those, not the books Shark had, the Xander Hollander books. The baseball and football previews for a certain season. I'll go back and read some of the players'
Those aren't
biographies
books,
again.
those are magazines.
No, it's a book. Bobby, it's a book.
If it's not for a season, it's not a book.
There's also stories in there. It's the quality stories. But I've got the 1980 NFL Xander Hollander. And I'll still go back and read it and some of the things they say and how funny it makes me laugh still. Some of the ways they would insult people.
Do you think Peter Gammons is a direct descendant of Andrew Jackson?
Why? Because of his hair and how sweet.
They look a lot alike.
I've never seen.
apart,
I've never seen a picture of Andrew Jackson.
Yes, you have.
Only paintings.
True.
They are not racially different.
No, they're not.
All
Tito.
right. Yes. I'm getting us out of here. Yeah,
beyond the sixth inning.
Yeah,
Is that
beyond
about,
sixth game.
Beyond the sixth game. Is that about the 75 series?
It's about what happened to the Red Sox after that game.
Okay.
And all the free agency stuff and all the crazy stuff, the free agency. Everything.
I want to read it.
You know what? I'm going to bring it in for you.
Greatest World Series ever.
I'll bring it in for you. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody, on the Juice, on the chat. We appreciate that. We're back tomorrow. See you Friday.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you as a police officer that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers